Everyone, this is the last word and I am Marya Shakil. Prime Minister Modi today launched a scathing attack against the Grand Old Party in the Rajya Sabha when he replied to the discussion on motion of thanks. Attacking the Congress, Prime Minister Modi said that Congress prepared such a model of politics in which there was a blend of lies, fraud, corruption, nepotism and appeasement. Mr. Modi said, and I quote him, where there is a blend of all these things, there will be no Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. The supreme in Congress model is family first, and that is why their policy is about them, unquote. Listen in to what the Prime Minister said, and then I bring in the guests.
आजादी के तुरंत बाद ही संविधान निर्माताओं की भावनाओं की धज्जियां उड़ा दी थी। फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच को कुचला, अखबारों पर, प्रेस पर लगाम लगाई। कविता गाने मात्र के गुने में नेहरू जी ने देश के एक महान कवि को जेल में ठूस दिया। देवानंद जी की सभी फिल्मों को प्रतिबंधित कर दिया गया। बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर के साथ कांग्रेस को कितनी नफरत रही थी, उनके प्रति कितना गुस्सा था, और किसी भी हालत में बाबा साहब की हर बात के प्रति कांग्रेस चिढ़ जाती थी। और इसके सारे दस्तावेज मौजूद है। और इस गुस्से को दो बार बाबा साहब को चुनाव में पराजित करने के लिए क्या कुछ नहीं किया गया। कभी भी बाबा साहब को भारत रत्न योग्य नहीं समझा गया। कांग्रेस को जय भीम बोलना पड़ रहा है, उनका मुंह सूख जाता है।
मेरे साथ राज्यसभा में विपक्ष के उपनेता और कांग्रेस के सांसद प्रमोद तिवारी हैं। प्रधानमंत्री ने आपके सवाल जो आपने रखे थे, क्या आपको उनका जवाब मिला प्रधानमंत्री के भाषण में?
प्रधानमंत्री जी आज राष्ट्रपति का भाषण तो कुछ बोले ही। मैंने इतना थका हुआ, निराशा से भरा हुआ, ऐसा इर्रेलेवेंट कभी भी इन्हीं मोदी जी का प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में बयान। लगता है उन्हें एक नैराश्य की भावना आ गई है, हार की भावना आ गई है, थक गए हैं। और आज वो एक बात भी नहीं कह पाए कि हम क्या करने जा रहे हैं।
तो क्या सवाल थे जी आप चाहते थे कि प्रधानमंत्री जवाब
वो हमने अमेंडमेंट के रूप में दिया था।
क्या क्या सवाल थे, एक उदाहरण के लिए?
महंगाई कैसे कम करेंगे, गरीबी कैसे हटाएंगे, ये अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जो रिकॉर्ड तोड़ रहा कैसे करेंगे, डॉलर की बढ़ती हुई कीमत कैसे रोकेंगे आप, जो भारतीयों पे खास तौर से हमारी माइनॉरिटी के लोगों को जो अत्याचार हो रहे हैं कुछ देशों में, उस पर क्या करेंगे। चुप प्रधानमंत्री। क्या प्रधानमंत्री एक शब्द बोले जो अमेरिका से आज लाद के लाए गए, बेइज्जत करके, अपमानित करके? तो प्रधानमंत्री बिल्कुल आज निराशा की भाव में डूबे। जी
देखिए, राष्ट्रपति के भाषण के ऊपर प्रधानमंत्री ने जो बातें रखी आज राज्यसभा में, मुझे दुख है कि असली मुद्दों से हटकर उन्होंने इधर उधर की बात की। आज महंगाई जिस तरह बढ़ रही है, बेरोजगारी से जिस तरह हमारे देश के युवा तड़प रहे हैं, उन पर एक शब्द नहीं बोले। विकसित भारत क्या है, उसका विश्लेषण क्या है? कोई जानता है क्या कि यहाँ तक जीडीपी पहुंचेगी तो हम विकसित भारत होंगे, या इतनी नौकरियां मिलेंगी तो हम विकसित भारत? किसी को पता ही नहीं है विकसित भारत क्या है। हर बजट में वो एक नया नामकरण करते हैं और फिर उसको अगले साल भूल जाते हैं।
And joining me now, RP Singh, spokesperson of the BJP, Mohan Kumar Mangalam is the national spokesperson of the Congress, Amitabh Tiwari is a political strategist, and Zainab Sikandar is a political analyst. I'm going to begin with you, Mohan. Does the Congress feel cornered repeatedly given the kind of attacks that has come in from the Prime Minister directly?
Good evening, Marya, to you and my fellow panelists. Frankly, I don't think the Congress feels cornered. There's nothing new in what the Prime Minister has said. What the Congress is disappointed yet again by the Prime Minister continuing to drive this car while looking in the rearview mirror. This wasn't supposed to be a political rally. We are not in election season, so to speak. However, this Prime Minister seems to always be in sort of election mode, if you will. There were no responses to some of our challenges. Whether you like what Mr. Gandhi articulated as a vision for where we should be in the future or what we should be working on or not is a separate issue. But at least address the issues of the day, such as unemployment, such as we're actually a consumption economy and not a production economy, and how we are actually going to compete in the new world order that's shaping up around us. Whether we should continue to be bipolar or multipolar, these are all questions that are staring at us, and it doesn't benefit the country for its Prime Minister to keep looking back, twisting history. His speech was, as usual, replete with half-truths, cherry picking where he wants to. And it's getting, this is, frankly, this is maybe the 5th or 6th time I've seen him make exactly the same speech with exactly the same talking points. It's a worry for us as citizens of this country that our own Prime Minister doesn't seem to be taking the problems of the day seriously, or is able to articulate something more than a headline or a slogan, which keeps changing every time.
Okay. RP Singh, a quick response on that. And then I bring in the analysts and try to analyze Prime Minister's speech.
Marya, looking into mirror generally pinches, especially if you have a track record which is not cohesive for the country, which is not good for the country. That's why the younger generation should know where we were and where we are today. I mean, how do you compare? How do you go ahead? What helps you to take step further? Only once you know that, okay, we have moved from here to here. For example, I mean, I remember in my young days, I used to go for a bottle of milk and we used to fight for bottle of milk. I was a milk drinker and now and even now, then even now. And there was shortages of milk, something very basic. LPG was a very hard dream. I mean, we remember we used to fight for kerosene oil. There used to be big queues for kerosene oil. Telephone, mobile was never there, but telephone, just one telephone in the complete mohalla or one area, and then call will come and then he'll say, okay, I'll call you back. Well, this is the time we have seen with our own eyes. And also that everyone used to take a pot shot as a Hindu growth rate. I mean, India used to grow at 2.5 as the economy. And also, what they speak of freedom of speech, they talk about freedom of expression. Well, what have they done to freedom of speech and freedom of expression? Everyone knows. You said emergency, even before emergency also, and even after emergency. I mean, you were part of that, probably you would remember that postal bill which was introduced by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. I'm not talking about emergency, I'm not talking about what Mr. Nehru did during his regime, curbing the freedom of expression by sending film stars to jail or by prohibiting the movies or prohibiting the songs in the All India Radio and Doordarshan. But what about Rajiv Gandhi, man who was supposed to be very progressive 21st century high-tech man? I mean, remember that postal bill? That, everyone
so your
protested.
accusation is that Rajiv Gandhi was also someone who kept on looking backwards in time. Amitabh Tiwari...
No, give me a second. No, give me a second, Marya. I'm sorry. No. He also curbed the freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Man, let me then elaborate. That postal bill was that during that time there's no mail, email, and only mail was the mail through the post office, Dakhana. And then the postal bill meant that government can open your mail, check your mail read, check your letters, and then again give it to you after verifying whether they are as per the government requirement or not.
Okay.
So that was the postal bill introduced by no less than Rajiv Gandhi.
Okay, let's move on and bring in others now. Amitabh Tiwari, if in Lok Sabha the Prime Minister's primary target was Aam Aadmi Party, because that was keeping in mind the Delhi elections. The state of Delhi has gone to polls and the exit polls are suggesting that there could be good news for the BJP on 8th, but of course, exit polls do get it wrong. The Prime Minister today, kept his target on the Congress party, be it the license permit Raj that he spoke about, or the Congress being unfair to SC/STs, their formula being family first. His attacks were sharper, and it is, I won't say it's a repetition as other opposition leaders are saying, but certainly he has given a direction to his party that they will be not giving any space whatsoever to the opposition when it is about speeches and setting the agenda?
If you see, the Prime Minister follows a usual typical style during his speeches. First of all, he normally takes this occasion to list the achievements of the government. Then what he tries to do is that he compares the achievement of the 10 years versus the achievements of the 70 years of the Congress party, so that his voters, supporters get to know a stark difference in how he has achieved more than what the other governments have done. And then he tries to attack the opposition, largely the Congress party here, as to how and try to list their non-performance. See, because when he is making this speech, he's also not only catering to the broader audience, but also catering to the core voter of the BJP. And as you've mentioned, trying to give them inputs, points on how to tackle the opposition, not only in the parliament level, but up to the booth level. And also, after the victories in Haryana and Maharashtra, and if, let's say, the exit polls go right, in Delhi, what happens is that the Prime Minister is trying to set the tone that it is business as usual. Continuity is the message. 2024 election results were largely an aberration, and the party, which is the BJP or the Prime Minister Modi, is back in electoral form. So that's the core of the message which he is trying to give. See, Rahul Gandhi has raised some pertinent issues. It's not that issues which were raised by the opposition are not pertinent. However, I still feel that the party or the opposition is not coming up with solutions, or is not providing an alternative view to the people of India as to how manufacturing can be increased up to 25% of GDP, how India should attempt to gear up the challenge which is posed by artificial intelligence. So those also need to be part of the speeches, so that people also get to at least hear about the alternative vision which the opposition.
Since Prime Minister, in fact, Zainab spoke about the alternate governance model, saying that after 2014, India got an alternate governance model, and this model is focused on appeasement, is not focused on appeasement, but on satisfaction. And then he spoke about what is BJP's philosophy about nation first. Do you think the opposition should come up with solutions rather than the point that they are trying to make, which invariably gets lost?
Absolutely. I've always maintained that the opposition needs tons of introspection to, better themselves, because obviously they're not doing as well as they think they are, because I feel the opposition is truly in denial. And today I feel the most pointed remark of Prime Minister Modi, which I completely agree with, is that Congress is always trying to pull others down, where he very clearly said that, वो दूसरों की रेखा छोटी करना चाहते हैं, इससे अच्छा होगा कि वो अपनी रेखा को पहले बड़ी करे. So indirectly, he was basically saying Congress is behaving like a sore loser, where they're trying to pull down their alliance partners. And this is something that is a big shortcoming when it comes to the opposition. They make these mighty alliances, call it different names every 5 years. But then what ends up happening when state elections come, they start bickering with each other. So as voters, when we look at the opposition, we have no trust in them, because they make these Mahagathbandhans, they make these India blocks, and then there's so much infighting between them. Why would someone give them a chance next year round when they've already seen a teaser of what happens when state elections come? So I think this was a big takeaway for Congress and the opposition. And therefore, I feel Prime Minister Modi made very pointed remarks even on the current state of affairs when it comes to the opposition. Another thing I'd like to point out is Narendra Modi has clearly shown that when it comes to giving speeches, there are bullet points that he will always give out. And why not give comparative analysis? When he's showing his 10 years, usually till now, the opposition was always like, we need an alternative to Modi ji. But now what did Modi ji do? He turned it around and said, I am the alternative. For the last 40, 50 years, whatever governance you didn't do what it should have done. And I am the alternative. So you have to realize the speech is not just a simple speech. It's giving key points to voters. It's even giving key points to people sitting on the fence with the BJP, where, they can either tip over to the Congress, or the opposition, or they can tip over to the BJP. So Narendra Modi ji was indirectly saying, you guys keep talking about an alternative, but I am the alternative. I did something different from what you guys are aspiring to do, but can never implement. That is the reason he was he constantly pointed out at the double standards. I will give you another third point. You know, Modi ji brought up B.R. Ambedkar. Just yesterday in Patna, Rahul Gandhi was there to honor a Dalit icon. And Modi ji specifically said that these people never, ever honored B.R. Ambedkar, but now they're doing this tokenism. Fact of the matter is, you know, when Congress had its heyday, they didn't do much for people they should have done. I'm not saying the intent wasn't there, but at least the symbolic gestures weren't there. And Modi ji is taking that advantage, and he makes sure that he brings up points, you know, which resonate with people, because people do remember the past. You know, our past makes our future. So I don't buy this point that we can't keep looking at the past. It is through our past that we learn and we do better.
Okay, Mohan, the point being made here...
No, you got to give me enough time, Marya. I heard everyone's points.
Yes, but I need to ask the question. Then only you
Go ahead, ask your question, then I'll respond to everybody. Go ahead.
Yes. My question is what has been said by Zainab and also by Amitabh Tiwari, that you have to come up with a solution, that politics has to be an alternate vision. Is that something that India Bloc has?
It absolutely does. You heard it articulated. And so in response to each one of them. First, Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, if you did not hear an alternative vision in what Mr. Gandhi said, then let me help you here. He talked about 4 industries that we should be focusing on that are the future, where we can build an industrial ecosystem around. I think that's far more than I've heard from the BJP that doles out PLIs and has still not been able to increase a percentage of GDP coming from manufacturing. He also talked about going to a single polar relationship with the United States in order to be competing with China. That's also a complete departure from where we are today. Those are 2 huge things that I'm surprised that you missed. Beyond that, I think for asking the opposition to be extremely prescriptive in providing solutions, I wonder what the government is going to do at all. To Mr. R.P. Singh, did you know that it was actually a Congress government that brought in the Green Revolution and the White Revolution? So your shortage of milk went away and your shortage of pulses went away. Oh, by the way, it was a Congress government that also brought in the telecom revolution, the IT revolution, and the liberalization, which unshackled us from the very Kota Raj that Mr. Modi speaks about from the 80s. Now to Zainab, let me educate you a little bit on Mr. Ambedkar's history. Do you know that Mr. Ambedkar, when he lost the 1946, let me talk. 1946,
but no need to educate me. Please don't mansplain.
It was, oh God, okay, all right. 1946, when he lost the provincial elections, it was Congress legislators who, with their support, he was brought into the provincial assembly. Do you know that it was Nehru and Ambedkar? Do not interrupt me when I'm talking. I heard you out patiently. Now, it was Mr. Ambedkar's effigy that was burned above Nehru's effigy when they were trying to bring the Hindu Code Bill and modernize the Hindu religion. Who burned their effigies? It was the RSS. Okay, whom brought Ambedkar in as law minister? Who championed the Hindu Code Bill, which was his bill mostly, in order to bring it through? It was Nehru. So please, let's not talk about honoring Ambedkar versus actually going against what Mr. Ambedkar stood for. What was important is what Mr. Ambedkar stood for. And if it's what his values were and what his thoughts were and what kind of revolution he wanted to bring, it is only the Congress party that has carried it forward. For all the rhetoric that Mr. Modi spoke about today, do you know that he still hasn't budgeted enough money to do a census that's been pending since 2021? A socio-economic caste census would bring more equity in this country by awarding and by targeting schemes towards backwards and Dalits that's required. We are not even willing to do a count today. Even what you would feel passionate about, I think, beyond this, which is a 33% reservation that Mr. Modi spoke about, is hanging in the balance until we do a census. He said he's going to do a census in 2019, budgeted 8,600 crores. Do you know how much he's budgeted in this budget for it? 500 crores. They're clearly not interested in doing a census at all. So please, when you talk about who has modernized the Indian economy, it is all on the shoulders of what the Congress has done for all these years.
Okay, a quick response from you, R.P. Singh, and then I'll give the last word to the woman on the show.
Well, Marya, he has been very selective with the history of Ambedkar ji. It was the Congress party who ensured that Ambedkar ji should lose elections. Not only that, the person who won against Mr.
The Congress, Mr. Ambedkar had his own party. We fought elections against him. You didn't exist in the picture. So what can we do?
Are you through? Okay, and then rewarded the person with Padma Award also, person who won against Ambedkar ji. This was the history, and then they ensured. I mean, Nehru ji himself went and campaigned against Ambedkar ji. I mean, he could have left it. He could have left that seat for Ambedkar ji to win, but they didn't do that. Bharat Ratna was never conferred on Ambedkar ji, although Bharat Ratna was conferred on Nehru ji while he was himself alive, and also on Mrs. Gandhi herself. She gave Bharat Ratna to herself also. So this is the history as far as Ambedkar ji goes. But let's talk about the country was in what level of economy, and then even during the when they claimed that they freed the economy, did they really achieve what was supposed to be achieved? Today, 25 crore people have been brought out of the poverty level. 25 crore people have been brought out of the poverty level. Not only that, even the middle class is also booming now. The country's economy is growing continuously from last 10 years. One of the best economies in the world today. And then
is that why Mr. RP is giving 81 crore people free anaj and you're giving a consumption tax cut because it's booming?
Marya, please. I mean,
Mohan, while you were speaking, RP was silent.
Oh, really? I heard him interrupt me. Marya, didn't you hear him go on?
No, whenever he interrupted, I ensured that he doesn't continue.
Go ahead and do the same thing to me.
Yes, please.
Look into the mirror, sir, and then talk.
Let's forget about review mirror and the real mirror, RP. 30 seconds.
I'm not talking the real mirror. I'm talking
30
I'm not talking the real mirror.
quickly.
The only concern is that we all know that even worldwide how India is pitched today on the international level, also on the international relationship, how we are pitched, and we look for the India's benefit. Now, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has new policy which has shifted from China to America. Till now, as per me, they were virtually on something like payroll of the China because they have signed a document with China which they not made public till date. And also,
but you can't get him away with
let me bring in Zainab.
If there's no proof for that, he can't get away
the question really is that when the 18th Lok Sabha started, we saw the BJP sound a bit conciliatory. Now it appears that after Haryana victory, after Maharashtra victory, the party feels that there's no room whatsoever that is needed to be given to the opposition, and that's the reason why a sharp, scathing attack coming right from the top, that is from the Prime Minister.
You're absolutely spot on. Actually, the back-to-back victories for the Bharatiya Janata Party has enabled them to be unapologetic about how they've always kept a high-pitched rhetoric against the Congress, and it has worked for them. We have to understand their core voters are very happy with the iron-fisted approach of Narendra Modi. They don't want, the people who vote for him don't want a weak PM. They prefer a PM who is very scathing in his attack and who points out the mistakes of be it the past, be it the present. And I would like to point out to Mr. Mohan, I never interrupt in debates, but please don't mansplain to a female panelist. And I don't want to make it about female. You don't need to educate me. Likewise, I don't need to educate you. You can give your rebuttals in a debate and I'll do likewise. Please don't be rude on a debate to a fellow panelist. That's why I interrupted you. Otherwise, I would have never. And I would also like to point out that when I was talking about B.R. Ambedkar, I'm telling you about the pertinent points that Modi ji brought up in the speech, which would resonate with people. I did not make the comment that Congress disrespected B.R. Ambedkar or respected him. That was not the point that has to be made. What I'm trying to say is Congress doesn't know how to prioritize its own campaign points. One day they will say one thing, the other day they will say another thing. In the last 10 years, you tell me, what are the 5 bullet points that Congress has stuck to? And I'm talking about main campaign election points.
Okay, point taken, Zainab. We have really come to the end of this discussion. So you're essentially saying that the Congress keeps shifting the goalpost.
Absolutely.
And is that really the bigger question that the opposition in general is facing? Of course, the narrative in the opposition space will change drastically after the results on 8th. And if the pollsters get it right, certainly it means that India bloc has much to think about. Thank you so much for joining us, Zainab, Amitabh Tiwari, Mohan Kumar Mangalam and RP Singh. With that, it's a wrap from me.